Welcome back, everyone, to
the fucking station, dude.
Oh my god.
I feel about the cussing thing, because
Okay.
side note, yeah, some people don't like it. On the other, the guys don't give a fuck. I personally don't care.
I personally don't care.
Okay.
I have a potty mouth, so
Yeah, right. It's like it's us. We're not professionals. We're not. We're not actors, right?
yeah,
She's a makeup artist. I'm a fucking mechanic, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just us.
we're just chilling. Why, has anyone told you anything about the cussing? Ah. Today's case we're going to be talking about is pretty brutal. I had to actually take a break from researching for a couple days just because it was a lot.
Wait, what do you mean it was a lot? It was a lot of researching, or it was like a lot to take in?
No, it was a lot to take in. I mean, of course, all murder cases are sad.
Are you sure about that?
But this one in particular was just like the details of what happened to them. I had to like mentally check out of this case for like a day or two just because it was a lot. But yeah,
you're right. No, you're right. And dude, you notice that our mugs are like white, and then this handle is black. That's because they're color changing mugs. They change color with the temperature of the liquid.
yes.
The hotter, it's just so cool, dude. Look
I don't know
at
why
it,
you
so
would describe it like that.
Well, because like they're just fucking badass.
The last one, our stuff didn't launch yet.
Did it?
No.
Oh, dude.
So we have a whole line. This was coincidental, by the way. I brought mine because I came from work. So I was just like, let me just bring something.
I thought you were gonna bring the one with you, the One Life.
I don't have that one.
You ordered that one, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the pink one.
I ordered this one in pink.
Oh, that's right. You ordered two of them in pink.
Yeah.
She ordered two of the same shirts in different colors.
But no, we have a whole collection. We got cups, hats, shirts, 2 sweaters now.
We have a nice champion sweater. Ah, it's so cool. I can't wait for it to get here.
It's like
really
this
cool.
logo. The designs are really nice. Don't get me wrong, but I love this one because I love like simplicity in things, especially in like my graphic t-shirts. So that's why this one I was like, I actually really like this one.
And I just like it. I was, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. And then I send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be badass. I like it too.
Yeah, so definitely check out the new merch. It's just really exciting. Like we actually have our own stuff now. Which
right, and it's both of ours because you helped me design too.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's some of the pictures. It's all her, like the moon girl.
Obviously, my parents support the show, and that one's my dad's favorite design. Is the one
the moon girl.
The moon girl
really?
one. That one's his favorite. We're also going to donate a portion of the profits to the suicidal prevention charities. Check out the stuff. Everything's going to be linked down below. I probably have been posting photos as we've been talking about it anyway, so you're able to kind of get previews. But definitely like check it out, shop it, tag us in you wearing the merch, especially like on your Instagram stories. You can tag us or you can tag the station's Instagram.
Oh, and tell them about your podcast. Dude.
Oh, so as well, I have my podcast, the Katnaps Chats. I haven't uploaded another episode, just researching cases. Sometimes you just need a break, but I do have a list of things that I'm going to be adding on to the show soon, so go ahead and subscribe to that as well. Check that out, and also check out Alejandro's other podcast.
Oh, the Scary Squad,
which is on this channel.
It's on the same channel. Dude, let's get into it. This is fucked up.
Yes,
this is fucked up because a guy is a victim. A guy gets raped. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people know that, Kat.
I feel like this case isn't super well known outside of, I want to say, the Tennessee area, because this did happen in Tennessee. I'll just get into it.
Nashville?
No, it didn't happen in Nashville. It happened in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we're talking about Channon Christain and Christopher Newsom. Obviously, they were a couple. Channon was 21, and she was a student at the University of Tennessee. And Chris was 23, and he was just working, He was starting his career, building his life. But this is the murder of both of them, and it did happen in Knoxville, Tennessee, January 6, 2007.
I think a lot of people think that girls are, and I'm not, the majority are girls, right? Rape victim. But it just goes to show that it can happen to you too, dude. You feel me? So I kind of took this as of like, hey, just be careful. I mean, it's not that I'm in danger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at this shit.
But then again, you just never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
There's some freakos out there, dude. I look, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really research a lot.
Yes.
But I did a little bit of research.
At least from everything that I gathered as well, I definitely do feel like Channon and Chris, they were just wrong place, wrong time. And it was opportunity that these monsters did. And I'm going to tell them exactly what they are. They are monsters. We'll go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
On Saturday, January 6, 2007, in Knoxville, Tennessee, Channon and Christopher, they were dating, and they were dating for a few months already. You know, they're definitely like in their honeymoon stage where they want to do everything together and all that. So they were planning a little date night together. So one of their friends was having a party, or like a birthday party. So their idea was to go to this party and then hang out a little bit afterwards and then go home, of course. So they were going to make a little date night, you know, together, just chilling. Channon actually went to one of her friend's house, her best friend's house, to go get ready for the party with her. And then Chris was going to pick her up, and they were going to go to the party together, you know, and then do all their coupley things. That was the plan, at least.
Okay.
So Channon is ready. She calls Chris. She goes outside her friend's apartment to call Chris and be like, hey, I'm ready. Like, can you come now? Her friend ends up leaving to the party first.
Wait, what's the timeline right now?
So it's not super clear on the timeline.
Okay.
So Shannon's dad gets a call from her like around 12:45. But then once they weren't showing up at this party by 10 o'clock, that's when everyone was worried. So they're thinking that they were possibly, because they were kidnapped, they were thinking that they were kidnapped between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, so it's a nighttime.
So this is nighttime, yes.
Okay.
So that's why, so this probably was happening around like 8 o'clock, like 8:30 most likely. So Shannon's outside, she's waiting for Chris to pick her up. It said that they were having like a little bit of a fight because he was just taking a really long time, and she's like, you know, being a normal girlfriend, like, where are you? Hurry up, I'm already ready.
Right.
You said you're gonna be here, you're not here, what the fuck? So
Gosh, been there.
So that's what like kind of like their fight was, even though it wasn't really. So by the time Chris got there, so she's in her car at this point. So she's sitting in the driver's seat, and he's standing outside. The door's open, he's standing outside, you know. You kind of can visualize it a little bit. Like, she's sitting here, like, pouting, mad at him. Like, why didn't you come earlier? And he's standing, like, right here. So he's, like, kissing her, and he's hugging her, and he's just like, I'm sorry, babe.
Just putting the Mac Daddy in there, dude.
And
little high school relationship.
I mean, they were in their 20s. But, yeah.
Yeah, high school relationship.
It was the honeymoon stage, remember? Like, they haven't been dating for a super long time. So, Shannon's dad gets a call from her around 12:45 a.m. now, so past midnight, and just to tell him that, hey, me and Chris, we're just gonna go out to eat really late, we're gonna get a late bite, and then I'm gonna be home later, like, don't wait up for me, because both of them still lived at home. You know, Channon was a college student, so instead of living in the dorms, she just lived at home. Same thing with him, but he was just like, his parents kind of let him do his own thing. They did say that he was starting to save up for like his own apartment and all that stuff. So Channon called her parents and told her like, hey, I'm gonna be back late. Chris's parents, they did say that they were just so used to him going in and out of the house, like, you know, he's 23, he would do whatever he wanted. So while, you know, they were with each other, like cozying up and all that, obviously they're not like looking around them because they're only looking at each other. Right. So during this is when they didn't notice this car pulling up to them in the parking lot at the apartments of Washington Ridge. This was the friend's apartment. Like I said, they did not see the car pulling up, and in that car, armed, was...
You said Nazi.
No, I did.
Yes.
Oh my god, whatever. Eric Boyd, LaMarcus Davison, and I cannot pronounce this guy's name.
Eric Boyd's, right?
No, it's Eric Boyd, LaMarcus Davison. It's, where is it? Oh my god. Right here.
Oh,
Latavis. That feels wrong. Well, I mean, the rest of the show, I'm going to refer to them as their last names anyway. Cobbin. So the three of them, like I said, they were all armed. They didn't say who got out of the car, but one of the guys got out of the car, held them at gunpoint, and then they threw Chris and Channon in her car. So they're stealing hers, since that's the car, like, you know, they were at. They threw them in the back seat. Davison, he was driving Shannon's car, and Cobbins was behind him. So Eric was also with Davison in Shannon's car, and they went ahead and just tied him up in the back seat with whatever wires or whatever they found, basically. I'm pausing on the couple. We're going to go into the group that did this. Davison he is said to be basically like the mastermind behind everything that happened. So he was living in a rental on Chipman Street. He didn't have a job. He had no money. He didn't have a car. Recently, his girlfriend broke up with him. So
he had a girlfriend?
He had a girlfriend.
Without a job or anything?
Without a job or anything. And
what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Well, I mean, she left. Basically, like a couple articles I was reading, it's just like he was a very angry man at this point of his life. He also recently just had a carjacking offense on him like a couple months prior to this. So he already had like a few charges against him: burglary, carjacking, literally months before this. His half-brother was Cobbins, so he brought his friend Eric, and then his girlfriend is Vanessa Coleman, and they were all out that house, and that's basically like who's there. And then there's another man named Thomas. His last name is Thomas. He was just one of like their friends that also was there at that house with them too. So it's a total of 5 people, 4 guys and 1 girl. The reason why they were saying that they were even there at that apartment complex was because Davison was going to buy furniture off of this girl, and they were going to go pick it up, and then he was going to pay her back like in payments basically. So that's why they were even there in the first place, according to them.
Oh, okay. At
the apartment.
At Chris and the other girl's apartment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is all because they didn't have an apartment together. Remember, it was Shannon's friend's apartment.
No, but the perps, right? The perps were at Shannon's or in their area because they were going to pick up some furniture.
So they were at that apartment complex because the girl that they were going to buy the furniture from lived at that apartment complex.
So it was just, damn, so it just happened to be like...
Again, wrong place, wrong time.
Wow.
So because they didn't have any money or anything like that, you know, they're all pretty much broke. I think I read it didn't say who, but at this point in time, 3 of the men already had past like criminal convictions against them anyway, and so they kind of saw this as an opportunity.
Absolutely.
To get more money. Okay, while we're there, we're gonna go ahead and like steal someone's car, you know, get money from the scraps, right? Right,
which I totally understand, Kat. I've been in that situation, right? I gotten out of jail. I get that, right?
Yeah.
But up until like I get robbing a car and then taking it to the chop shop and getting a few bucks off of them, right? I get that. But then what they did to them, that I do not get. Because, you know, everybody's trying to get money, especially when you're broke and shit. But, like, raping?
Yes.
I don't know about all that.
So before they went, they all really didn't know Davison, at least. Because, remember, the only tie that this whole group has to Davison is his half-brother. Davison didn't know one of the guys, Thomas, who just kind of tagged along. They didn't really know each other, and they also did not like each other either. So before they left, Davison told Thomas, this is what Vanessa told the officers, quote, he was gonna need him to do something so he can trust him, end quote. And then I guess that's where the idea
of carjacking came to be. To be like, can I trust this guy to, one, not rat me out in the end, do this with me, you know, I guess for whatever reason. Yeah, and it happens. It happens. You gotta prove that you're a real one, Kat.
I don't care. Again, I understand, but it's just like they could have not raped. They could have just stole the car. Right. And also they're in an apartment complex. They could have stole literally any car.
No, but I mean, they're already there. The keys are there. You don't have to hotwire it. You don't have to, I mean, you just literally just drive off and...
Yeah, but the reason why they think the time frame that they got kidnapped was between 9 to 10 p.m. is because they didn't show up to the party. It was actually by 11 p.m. So I got the times a little mixed up. But by 11 p.m., that was like the latest that their friends were like, where are they? And their friends immediately went to go look for them at the apartments. And at the apartments, that's where they saw that Shannon's car was gone, but that Chris's was still there. And they were just like, they were supposed to ride in Chris's car. That was like already kind of like a red flag for them. about what happened. I couldn't find anything if they told the parents at this point, or if they were just like, that's a little weird or something. But
that's suspicious.
An interview that I watched with both of their parents, but Shannon's dad said that, you know, one thing that he does treasure was that phone call that she made at 12:45. He doesn't want to believe that she possibly could have made that phone call, basically forced by these guys to kind of throw them off their scent a little bit on why she's still not home at that time, because that's what they're thinking that is what happened. If they were kidnapped, you know, between 9 and 10, by midnight, almost close to 1 o'clock, he probably forced her to call her parents. But her dad said that he doesn't want to believe that, because he's like, how can I not tell my daughter was in distress? But he did say that on that call he was able to say I love you to her, so that he does cherish, that he was at least able to hear it and say it at least one more time. Same thing with her mom. I guess before she left the house, she was like, bye mom, love you. Her parents do hold on to, at least they were able to say it to her at least one time.
Right.
So,
some kind of closure, right?
Okay, so now we're going to get into the murders. So ready?
This I'm going to be oblivious to, because I did not get any details.
And also, huge listener discretion. There's going to be talks of torture, rape. There might be some details. I did go a little bit more into detail with this one, just because it's just like, you know, I'm not going to water down what these monsters did, because what they did was the most disgusting thing that you can do to a human being. I don't know. Do with that as you want, but a huge trigger warning.
I'm guessing that, damn, I didn't think this was like that. You're speaking with passion, Kat, and I love it, right?
Yeah.
But okay, let's do it. Like, I'm excited.
So, of course, what happened to Chris, both of them, what happened to them is terrible. But what they did to Shannon is when I had to take a break.
Okay.
So,
let's do it.
Christopher, he was murdered first. He was murdered within the first, like, couple hours, actually. The couple, they, you know, were bounded in the backseat of Shannon's car, and they drove over to Davison's house that he was renting. At least with Chris, the timeline isn't super clear. Chris was raped, but they don't know if it happened in the house or if it happened in the secondary location where he was found. So that we don't know clearly, or at least I wasn't able to find a super clear thing on that. But yeah, so Chris, he was raped. He was raped by one of them. We don't know who, because they don't really admit it. He was raped. He was also raped with an object. So essentially he was sodomized, if y'all remember that episode. But he was raped with an object. And also the person believed to have raped him was Boyd, simply just because on his phone, after it was seized and everything from the police, there was male porn on it, but they couldn't find any DNA.
And this was like the hardest motherfucker in there too, right?
No, not really.
It wasn't Boyd. Boyd wasn't the criminal one?
No, he wasn't he wasn't like the mastermind behind this.
Okay.
So they found it on his phone, but they weren't able to tie him to it because the DNA was destroyed. I'll go into that a little bit too with the other details. But so Chris was also beaten. He was tortured. All of the men, so this is why it's just like they don't know where exactly this happened, but the men ended up taking him to some railroad tracks that were kind of like behind the house. They did find a dog leash nearby, so that's how they knew that's how they let him out. There was some reports that he just like walked normal, and there's some reports that he was on all fours like a dog. So again, don't really know, but we know for sure that he was barefoot because he was found only in a t-shirt and his underwear. So once they took him there to the spot, he was still bounded. He had his hands behind his back and his feet were also tied together at this point, and he was blindfolded and he was gagged with a sock. They did say that they put like a hoodie or something, like a sweater, over his face as well. And then they shot him execution style. So Davison, the ringleader, he forced Thomas to shoot him first because remember, Thomas had to do something to prove that he can trust him. So he forced him to shoot Chris first, and the first shot was in the neck. So he was shot a total of 3 times, in the neck, the back, and then in the head. And the final shot in the head severed his brainstem. So then they wrapped up his body in a comforter and burned it. So that's why the DNA evidence was destroyed, because of the fire, but they did find semen. So that's why it's like, it's here, but we just don't know who.
What? Like it's carbonated semen, or what? I fucking get it. Like, how do you know it's semen and it can't, like, you can't, you know, do a test on it?
I mean, probably.
That don't make no sense to. I'm not a fucking genetics.
Probably just by like the looks of it, you know, like they knew what happened. I don't know, but they weren't able to find like DNA on exactly who it is. But like they said, they strongly believe it was Boyd. While all of this was happening, Coleman, which is the half-brother's girlfriend. I know I'm like saying the last names and if it gets really confusing, I'm sorry. Probably for the first little bit, if you're watching, I'm going to be putting photos of like everyone's faces so you can start like associating. She was left at the house with Channon, and we don't really know exactly what happened while they were left alone. We don't know if like she did anything to her, if she was tortured, or I don't know, but Coleman's not innocent in this. Like, she did participate in things. We just don't know what happened during this time in particular. So then after they finished with Chris, that's when Eric, he is reported to have left. So he was just there for the first murder, essentially. I mean, at least, you know, that as far as we know, because his DNA technically wasn't there, you know?
Right.
So at this point, he's gone. So now it's just Channon. Now that, you know, Shannon's the last one, Cobbins told her, we'll let you go if you go down on me. He wanted her to perform oral sex on him, and of course, I mean, like, she did not want to at all. The whole time she was begging, like, I don't want to die. That's what they were saying the whole time. They were trying to bribe her with the whole like, if you do this, or if you let us do this, you'll go home. And the whole time, though, I mean, let's just be real here, the entire time she was being raped, there was no consent at all in this. So
that's what rape means, guys.
No means no.
There's no consent.
The second that someone says no, it's a no. Stop.
It's a no, dude.
But she was raped orally by him, and it was so forceful. She had cuts all around her mouth.
Cuts from what?
From him.
Oh wow!
Like, it was so forcefully that she got all cut up from the act.
Dude, I'm sorry. I know what you're like trying to say, and it's just fun. Well, I'm not laughing at what happened.
I know.
You know. But
I mean, sometimes you just gotta lighten up the mood a little bit.
Now we're gonna fucking look like assholes.
No, you just gotta lighten up the mood sometimes. Okay. We're not making fun of anything.
No, we're not.
While this was happening, the first round of the rapes, and that sounds so bad to say, but that's how it happened. So they forced her to sit up, like they tied her up in a chair, and it was Cobbins and Davison. Both of them were doing this to her. And so for hours, this was happening to her. Orally, vaginally, in her butt.
Through the butt.
No, but she, yeah. I mean, but this was happening to her for hours. Like, they were raping what they could. And she was alive this whole time. And, you know, she was just crying and begging, please stop, let me live. But it was so bad after a while that she was bleeding, and the blood was starting to pool up down there as well, both in her rectum and also vaginally too. So, because since they were also like beating her at the same time, so she was hemorrhaging in her head and also down there. So that's why she was bleeding and it was starting to pool. Don't know when, but that's when at one point Coleman, the girlfriend, she started kicking Channon in her head and also like at her vagina. Did not help the bleeding. If anything, it just made it worse. So she was also beating this girl. She may not have raped her, but she was beating her pretty excessively.
She was partaking in the torture.
She was not innocent. As much as she wants to say that she was not.
Right.
So at one point, they ended up dragging her to the living room, and that's where she got carpet burns pretty much almost all over her body. And this is, after I read this little bit that I'm going to finish right here, this is when I had to stop.
Okay.
Probably making this sound a lot, but like I just had to be like, okay. After all of that and then how this finished, I was like, okay. To destroy evidence, they poured bleach down her throat.
Well, she was alive?
She's still alive.
Oh, she was alive.
She's still alive. They started scrubbing her body, even all the bleeding parts, just not giving a fuck. They were just scrubbing the shit out of her body and her skin. And then they bounded her in the fetal position. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So they bounded her in the fetal position, and then they put her body, still alive, they put her body in 5 trash cans and put her, in 5 trash bags, and put her in the trash can in the kitchen, basically. So
they chopped her up?
No, they tied her up.
Oh, and like 5 so they could be strong enough to carry the body?
Yeah. You know, like when you put a trash bag in and then like you pick it up and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna rip, so you layer up a couple.
Right.
That's what they did to her body.
Which doesn't work with condoms, guys. Just in case I were wondering. You think you want extra protection, so you put 2? Doesn't work. It's really like, anyways. With bodies, it works. With condoms, it doesn't. I'm just saying because like when you were saying that, some people might be thinking, you know, it's not like someone's dumb enough to try it, right?
He speaks a little bit with passion on that one.
Sorry, guys. And anyway, so the trash bags, right?
Yeah.
So 5, they didn't chop her up.
No,
they were just layered
they just
on top
layered,
of each other.
They tied her up. They tied her up in the fetal position, and then they just layered it.
God, these sons of bitches, dude.
Still alive at this point. Still alive. And they just placed her in the trash can, like how your trash can is. And I'm going to post photos.
That's a big trash can.
So that's the trash can that they used. They did that, you know, they wrapped her up and all that. And then they also covered it with sheets for whatever reason.
The smell, probably.
So at that point, she only had on her little, like, tank top and a sweater. So she died within the next 2 days from suffocating.
Oh, my God. No.
Yeah.
They left her there?
They left her there. So this happened on January 6th/7th because, you know, past midnight technically. And then they left. They bounced after that.
And they left her there to die.
They left her there to die. They left the house.
Holy
I got chills just thinking about this.
shit,
so this
dude.
is when I had to take a break for 2 days.
Holy shit, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, these motherfuckers make the Nazis look like Shirley Temple.
I want to go there for it.
I mean...
They make the toy box killer look not that bad.
No, because he at least, you know, had a nice surgical...
I wanted to say nice. Don't put nice in that.
Yeah.
They
way.
left her.
So she was in there suffering for 2 days.
At least 2 days. That's what they're thinking. At least 2 days.
It's okay, Mamos. I'm pretty sure you're resting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's resting now.
Especially the legacy her parents and also Chris's parents too. I'm not, you know, we're not forgetting Chris. At least with her, it's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, man. Yeah. 2 days of her suffering will be repaid in an eternity of just love and happiness. For sure, dude. It just eternally.
So now you understand why I'm like, I had to take a break.
Yeah, for sure. Like wow. And if I can add, because I don't know if you knew, but and I'm not like defending the perps. They were, because I saw the court video, and one of the dudes, they were smoking a wet blunt.
Yes.
So a lot of people out there might be like, who in their right mind would do? Well, they weren't in the right mind. For people that don't know what it is, it's a embalming fluid, what they put on like dead bodies, right? For they could preserve for the funeral. So they grab those fluids from funerals, right?
I think
and
so.
It's like a drug. And then they put that on a blunt, and you know, it's called a wet blunt. I have witnessed persons on wet before. And dude, their mentality is fucked up. I was locked up in Del Valley, actually.
Yeah.
And there's a guy came in and he was on wet, and he was just acting weird. So maybe that's why they went to that extent. I don't know. Because if you're just looking for easy money, like I said before, if you're trying to rob somebody, right, you're not gonna turn yourself into a murderer. You're not gonna turn yourself into a rapist. If you're out here with your boys,
a torturer, even.
Right. You just go over there, you rob, and you get and go. That's some other shit. And I mean, they were under that influence, you know. I've never smoked weed. I've heard people have done that. Oh shit! You remember the movie Friday with Smokey when they give him a laced blunt and he ends up in the chicken coop?
Yeah.
That's wet.
Oh.
They gave him a wet blunt. It fucks you up mentally.
Yeah.
For about a few hours. That explains their like why they did what they did. Which it doesn't, I mean, you know, still.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't, but I don't know. It's just the whole thing is just...
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I think it gives you more, like, I guess, courage. you know, like they were still gonna do that,
Mm-hmm.
but that just gave them like even more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A little bit back onto, you know, why they even took him in the first place. So the whole idea was to take their car and then that's it. But I guess what happened was while they were holding them at gunpoint and everything, they saw headlights of another car that spooked them, so they went ahead and they took them as well. So it's just like that's their reasoning on why they kidnapped them. But it's just like it doesn't make sense. At any point in time, they probably could have just like dumped them off somewhere because it was at nighttime, so they probably didn't even know who the fuck they were in the first place.
Right. So they didn't know them, right?
No, they did not know them. That does get into a little bit about what happened in court, though, like what they try to say about the couple, but I'll get into that. But yeah, no, they didn't know them. They had no ties to them at all. So now this is a little bit, not so much a little bit after, but this is just like some couple different things that the murderers said. Coleman, she said that, quote, "They made me go to the back room, and when I came back to the kitchen, I see them tying her up in the fetal position. She looked terrified," end quote. Her whole thing that she's saying was like she was just an innocent bystander. Herself was being held hostage by them, but that wasn't true. And then fingerprint evidence showed that Davison and Cobbins were the ones wrapping her up and tying her up in the trash bags because the fingerprints were on the bags and also on the box of the trash bags too, and also on like the actual trash can. So their fingerprints were already all over it. But after the murders, they either left, so they either stayed in Knoxville or at least the surrounding cities. Coleman, Cobbins, and oh my god, one of the other ones I forgot. They went back to Kentucky because that's where they were from. So right after this, like how they just left her there, they left completely. They left the house.
Whose house was that?
So it was Davison's house. He was renting it.
Okay, and then he skipped on rent too?
Yeah, he just left. Now we're gonna go a little bit back in time. Now we're gonna go into more of like a timeline type format, like when the friends noticed that they were missing to when they found them, the investigation and all that stuff. So we're gonna go a little bit back now. So now we're gonna go to January 6th, that night of everything that happened when the couple didn't show up. So Shannon's best friend kept calling her just to see where she was, calling, texting. Around 10 o'clock is when her phone started going straight to voicemail. So that's why they kind of like pieced together this timeline. Like probably around 9 to 10 is when they were kidnapped. And then, so a couple of the friends went to the apartment to see if they're there. That's when they saw Chris's truck, but not Shannon's car anymore. What really got them worried was when Channon didn't go to work. So Shannon's mom called police, but she also called Chris's mom. Channon didn't go to work. Have you heard from Chris? And remember, Chris kind of like went, like he came and go. Like he did his own thing. So his parents were like, no, we haven't seen him, but it's not super uncommon for him not to like go home for a few days. They're like, no, we haven't seen her, seen him. And then that's when Shannon's mom told them, well, Channon didn't even go to work. So obviously something's wrong now. Around January 6th, so that same night that they were kidnapped, around midnight, or also the 7th, I guess, because it's around midnight, there was a worker at the Waste Connections, which was on the same street as the house. His name was Xavier Jenkins. And so from the parking lot, he was able to see the house. And he said, and I quote, he noticed Shannon's car parked in front of Davison's house. The porch lights were on and the house seemed to be really busy for that time of night, end quote. And then in 2017, he did an interview and he said that, quote, we started hearing on Sunday from family members that 2 young kids were missing, and then that's when we learned of the discovery of Chris's body, end quote. So he saw Shannon's car parked outside the house, and then he saw the lights on. He obviously didn't see anything, but he was like, the house looked really busy for that time of night.
Right.
Also, just neighbors within that neighborhood reported around like 1 a.m. they heard like 3 pops. So that was on the 6th. So then on the 7th, the next day, around the like afternoon, like around 11 to 12 o'clock, that's when a railroad employee discovered Chris's body. So that's when obviously when police got there, that's where they found the semen. But then when they tested it, the DNA was destroyed, or it probably just wasn't strong enough at that point because of the fire, that they weren't able to like pin it down, which that does happen too. Not so much like the DNA is gone, but there isn't enough DNA.
I mean, how much is enough? Okay, first of all, if we're gonna get scientific,
But you have to remember,
how much does a load, First of all,
Yeah.
how much is that? And how much do you need to take DNA sample?
but you have to remember, this is in 2007.
Dude, it's 2007.
We
We have remote start on vehicles. We got iPhone,
that doesn't
6?
no, but that doesn't mean anything.
What do you mean?
No, like forensics and stuff, it took a while for them to catch up. In 2007, it was still still a struggle. You had to have a significant amount in order to be able to tell the DNA. Or if you didn't, it would be more so of a range, like a general idea, like, oh, we can tell this. I'm not saying like obviously semen it's from a male, but if it was like blood or something, they would be able to tell like this is from a male, we just don't know who. No, but forensics still wasn't that super far advanced in 2007.
Which is hard to believe. I find that hard to believe.
It is hard to believe, especially in the world we live now, with how so many cases are getting solved with just genealogy. But that didn't really start happening until recently. In like this case, how there was damage to not only the body, obviously, and also the DNA. They probably just didn't have enough, or their technology wasn't advanced enough for it yet. Anyway, but with the news that of this happened to Chris, now the families are like, okay, now where the fuck is Channon?
So they found Chris, right?
They found Chris first.
How many days after?
A day, just the next day. Remember, because he was on a railroad.
Right. So they found him. Okay.
They knew that. I mean, they didn't know because they didn't know she was dead, but they were thinking she could be somewhere in this area because this is where Chris was. At this point, family still couldn't get a hold of her. She was not showing up to work. Her parents went to the police, but the police told them basically that they would have to search for her themselves because Channon was an adult. Who knows, maybe she ran away and wanted to start a new life, even though her boyfriend was murdered, but
Which is never that.
No.
Listen, guys, girl, if your friend turns out missing, and you're wondering, maybe they ran out. It's never that. So
this is now... So eyewitnesses said that they saw Shannon's car outside the house. For now, it's been 2 days in a row that her car has been outside the house. Her parents were also able to track her phone to the last ping. And that ping was within that neighborhood. So now they have that. Now they know where her car's at. So on January 8th, that's when they found the car. It was about 2 blocks away from the house. And so now this is when police are getting involved. So when they found her car, that alone was red flags for them that obviously something happened to her because there was personal items missing, a teddy bear that Chris got her, photos of them. Her iPod was missing. The driver's seat was pushed all the way back, which Channon and Chris were not that tall to have it all the way back.
Was the seat like all the way?
Yeah,
all the way back?
It was all the way back.
Like a cholo?
Mm-hmm. It was even leaned a little bit so they could drive like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but so the seat was different. Her car was dirty, had mud all over the floor, which apparently she kept her car in like super pristine condition. And there was also a pack of cigarettes. And neither one of them smoked.
Newports, probably.
Yeah.
Newports? Yeah. No way, dude.
It actually was, yeah.
Wait, you being for real?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, post a picture of the do you think they'll have it?
Of what?
Of the Newports that they found?
Oh, no. I couldn't find any. I'll post a picture of Newports.
Boom.
Yeah, so they didn't smoke. There was also a envelope in the car, and the fingerprints were said like there was an envelope and the fingerprints led them to Davison's house, which I have no idea how that happened, but because of the envelope, they were able to go to Davison's house. So then now a day later, so January 9th, they have to get a warrant and all that, so that's why it took a day. So the police go inside Davison's house, and you can actually find this on YouTube, but a police officer had a video camera and he did like a walk through the whole entire house. So when you see how dirty it is, how small it was, and there's a reason why I'm mentioning how small it is, but you're able to see basically the crime scene. And like I said, it's on YouTube. You can see like the court hearings. There's a lot of evidence on the internet. This was in 2007, so things were more so recorded at that point anyway. Yeah, so that is also where they discover her in the trash can. Now, this was the 9th, so she was already in that for 3 days.
And they determined that she died in 2 days. They can determine the time of death.
Mm-hmm.
They could. Mm-hmm. And it was 2 days.
Well, that's why, like, they don't really know because of all the injuries. That's why they said she died within those 2 days.
I'm not trying to sound mean, but I hope she did die, like, within the next minutes of that.
Me too.
Just so she didn't have to suffer that long.
I really hope.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, for their sake. But that's where they found pretty much everything. DNA evidence was found in her lower region.
In her vagina.
And also, of course, in her mouth as well. That's where they were able to tie the DNA evidence to the boys.
To everybody, right?
Yeah.
So all 3 of them?
The bleach didn't do anything. And even if the bleach did do something, there's also DNA evidence, like, inside her shirt. And they were saying that, like, when she was tied up, she, like, looked down and, like, spit it. Mm-hmm. So it was in her shirt and on the jeans. So no matter what, like, there was DNA. They didn't destroy anything, at least on her. And also that's when they found more of Chris and Shannon's things inside the house of theirs. And that's also where one of the bullet casings that they found matched the one from Chris. So they were able to be like, oh, okay, so these fuckers killed all of them. Killed both of them. Cool. And then so now on January 11th, Davison was caught by police after they found out that him and Boyd were talking. So
January 11th.
Is that your birthday?
It's my birthday.
Like, what
and
happened?
I turned 18.
They caught him on that day?
On my birthday. I knew my 18th birthday was special.
So they found out that Davison and Boyd were talking, like, on the phone, so they got Boyd to tell him where he was. So in custody, Davison changed his story at least 5 different times on what happened. Of course, each of the times he wasn't involved at all. At first, he was saying that he wasn't even home when these crimes happened. Then it turned into Cobbins and Thomas, that they did all of it, and when they told him what happened, he bounced. Another one was he was planning on smoking with a friend of his, so he wasn't even home. He was there for a little bit, like, after they brought them there, and then he was just like, fuck this, I'm out. So those were, like, a couple of his stories. So no matter what, he just wasn't there, but his DNA was. So weird. It just, like, transported to her body, which is crazy.
Oh, it happens.
The last one that he said was that he was there. Afterwards, he took Shannon's car because he used it to deal drugs. And when he got back, he never raped her. And he also didn't go past the living room. Because apparently everything happened, you know, in the bedroom. And then they brought her out to the living room. So he was like, I never even left the living room. And I took her car to deal drugs. Wasn't even there. Mm-hmm. And then he said, I didn't have sex with her. But that's not what we're calling it. We're calling it what it is. Also on January 11th is when everyone was arrested too. So they were arrested in Kentucky. So it was Thomas, Cobbins, and Coleman. Those were the 3 that were from Kentucky. They seized their computers and, like, all their belongings, obviously, and they found out that on the computer they were watching and following the news stories about this murder.
Oh.
So they were keeping up with it, you know. And also Coleman, the girlfriend, she had Shannon's stuff with her and was also using her stuff. So
what kind of stuff?
It was just, like, her cosmetic bags. They said her cosmetic bag and then her like secondary bag, I guess. She probably just had, like, a, you know, the things in her purse she was using. Cobbins now. So he told the police that it went down with him, Davison, and Boyd. They went to the apartments to meet up with someone. Now it's just, like, to meet up with someone. He didn't really go elaborate in it. Now all of a sudden there's no more furniture talking. Like, it was just to meet up with someone. They saw a couple talking outside and they took the opportunity to carjack them. So they took them. And then once they got to the house, that's when Davison took Shannon to the bedroom and started doing his thing. And Boyd took Chris away and did his thing and returned without Chris. And then Cobbins denied raping Shannon. He basically said, like, Davison did that, Boyd did that, I was just here with my girlfriend, like, we didn't do anything. Vanessa Coleman, she also said that the whole time she didn't do anything because she was also being held hostage by the men.
Which was untrue, right? Which
is completely untrue.
Because she would have been raped also.
And she wouldn't be using her stuff. And also, we have a diary entry from Coleman as well. On January 9th, she wrote down, quote, "Last night was one of a kind. We stayed at a crackhead house. That was cool as hell. It snowed a little bit, but it already melted. Let's talk about adventures. I had one, in all caps, hell of an adventure since I've been in the big TN, Tennessee. It's been a crazy world these days, but I love fun adventures and lessons I've learned. It's going to be a long, interesting year," end quote.
Yeah, in jail.
So you were held hostage
Prison.
when?
Yeah.
So her story fell through. pretty much instantly. So now we're going to go on to the trials. Now I'm referring to them as their names so everyone can know who these monsters are. But April 2008, Eric Boyd was facing charges of being an accessory after the fact, not for the rapes or the murders, even though everyone put them there and they're like put him there in their stories. But remember, the DNA was destroyed, so they technically had no physical evidence of him being there. So he was the first one to go to trial, and in the police interrogation tape, he was saying that Davison was the killer, and he left early once he found out like what they were going to do to them. Once he knew that they were going to murder them, he was like, I'm out, even though he didn't. He ended up being guilty and was sentenced to 18 years to a fatal carjacking and failed to report a known fugitive. And during the trials of 2009, so after Eric's, the family, they were going to every single trial, every single hearing, like anything that had to do with this case, they were there. Because they said that they owed it to their kids to be frontline, to fight for them, to make sure justice would be served. But also with that, in 2009 is when they started showing evidence photos. They started showing videos. You know, they would hold up, you know, the pieces of clothing. They obviously in trials they go into great detail, and the parents had to hear that. And also for the first time they saw the photos. So in August 2009, Cobbins, he's the only one exempt because I cannot say his first name. Cobbins was found guilty of the murders for Channon and Christopher. He faced the death penalty, but ultimately he was charged formally with the murder of Christopher, but he was acquitted to Shannon's rape, and his final verdict was that he was life without parole.
Good, so he ain't getting out.
He's not getting out at all. And so then now LaMarcus Davison, which is the mastermind behind this. So October 2009, he was found guilty. Obviously, he was the ringleader behind the whole thing, so the jurors unanimously voted for him to get the death penalty on all 4 capital murder charges. The first 2 were first-degree felony murders and 2 premeditated first-degree murders. The judge that, you know, was doing all this, he said, and I quote, "This crime is one of the most incredibly outrageous, cruel, humane cases this court has ever seen. How can people can engage in this type of conduct is unbelievable. There's really no sentence great enough to punish you for the conduct that you have been convicted of," end quote.
Oh, but there is. But there's more. And
then in 2016, the Supreme Court of Tennessee affirmed his conviction and death sentence, so he is on death row.
He is on death row.
Yeah. December 2009, George Thomas was found guilty, and he also got life without parole. Now, in May 2010, so Vanessa Coleman, she was the last one to go to trial. She was granted immunity of all the federal charges if she spoke out against the boys. So that's exactly what she did. She was acquitted of the first-degree murder, but was guilty of lesser charges, so she got 53 years. And during her sentencing, Shannon's dad told her, quote, "For me personally," this actually kind of made me tear up when I first read it. So he said, quote, "For me personally, you took my baby. You took my opportunity to say yes to a young man one day. You took my wedding dance away, and you also took my opportunity to hold her child, my grandbaby." End quote. He told her that to her face. But that's not it for her. So in
53 years?
Yeah.
She's not, how old was she?
She got less than 53 years. I'm going to say why.
Oh, shit.
So the judge ended up coming out to be, he was on drugs during her, he was on drugs. But specifically during her trial.
The judge?
The judge.
How can you make such accusations like that, Kat?
No, but it was proven.
So it was proven?
It was proven. What the fuck? So he was addicted to drugs and he would use them. He was high during all the trials, but specifically during hers, he was slurring his words a little bit. He wasn't fully there, so it was more obvious. So, of course, there was a lot of back and forth for a couple years, but there was a retrial. All of them tried to get retrials, but only 2 of them were granted retrials for Coleman and Thomas. And so the new judge that would looked over them in the new trial with the new judge, Vanessa Coleman, she was charged 13 out of the 17 counts of murder for Channon. She wasn't found guilty for Chris. So now, instead of the 53 years, she got 35 years.
Which is still a lot.
It's still a lot, but she's young, so
How old is she?
I don't know how old she is,
know.
but she was pretty young though. And the thing is, so nowadays you can serve up to 30% of your sentence and you could be let go.
That's interesting.
So that's why, like, she can still have her full life after this. But yeah, no, but there's a good chance that she can get out, like, while fully still living.
Right.
But Thomas, he was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences plus 25 years. So he's still never getting out, but if anything, he just got more brought onto him with that retrial, so good for him, I guess.
Unless he has 2 fatal heart attacks, and then they revive him again.
But then he has 25 years anyway.
You're right.
But Shannon's dad talked to him too. He told him, quote, "You taught me how to hate," end quote.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
Yeah. So during the trials, this is why you were like, do they have any ties to him? And I said no, but they were trying to. So during the trials, the defense was bringing up that Channon and Chris, their personal lives, and saying that, like, oh, they were using drugs and they were actually there at the house to buy drugs, and it just ended up bad. And they were just like, that's not what happened. Even if they were using drugs, they did not go to his house, and that should not be. So, like, this whole thing isn't a case of what they did in their personal lives or not. This whole case is these guys killed them,
right?
Regardless.
Yeah, no matter how.
No matter how or what happened, they still did this, which ultimately that story fell through, and they just kind of nipped that in the bud. They're just like, don't say this shit because it's not real.
Now, here's the thing that I was wondering. Do you think it was a hate crime?
To be honest, I don't think so.
No?
I know that was a different way that the media was trying to spin this, that it was a hate crime, because all of the murderers, they were black, and obviously the victims were white, and so that's what they were trying to spin. I personally don't think it was a hate crime at all. I think it was just opportunity. This was a full opportunity for them, and they took it.
Well, the reason I asked was because they jacked the car, right, to sell it, but that's not what they did. The car was intact. You know what I mean? It's almost like they just forgot about, oh, we have to get money. Let's just rape these people and kill them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me then.
I see what you mean.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, let's say I go and rob you for this, right? Because I need this. And then, I have it. But then I do all those things. But then the thing is just there like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, this was the initial thing that I wanted. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
So do you think it was a hate crime?
I'm not saying that. I think that that was their ultimate goal.
It was like racially motivated.
It was racially motivated in some way, and also they weren't planning on carjacking. The carjacking was just bullshit. They wanted to do those things. Like, they were set on that.
I personally think it was like a level of opportunity, because how many times, I mean, not saying that they were serial killers, but like how many times are serial killers, they pick out a victim by being literally like, that's who I want.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
That's how I mean, of course, there's the whole like stalking and little laugh face, but a lot of killers, they see someone, they're like, that's who I want next.
Opportunity.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like this was just pure opportunity.
Okay.
I don't know.
And also the torturing and the raping.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were trying to dehumanize somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to take away somebody's right as a human being. It wasn't just, a drive-by. Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, like, you did some heinous shit. It just doesn't make any sense to me then.
No, I mean, I definitely see what you mean, though. Because of this, in 2014, the governor, he passed 2 bills named after Channon Christain and Christopher Newsom. The Channon Christain Act prevents attorneys from bringing up allegations against victims that may not relate to the case. So, shit like that, like how they're trying to like spin this whole drug thing or what they did, even though it made no sense, so now they can't do that. And the Christopher Newsom Act eliminates the need for a judge to verify a unanimous jury's verdict. Unfortunately, great things happen from something like this. But like I said, their parents, kept on with their legacy. Both of them have scholarships under their kids' names. So Shannon's parents, they have a annual Channon Christain golf tournament to raise money for the Shannon Gale Christian Foundation. So it is a scholarship program for women going to the University of Tennessee with golf, because Shannon played golf and she was really good at it.
Oh, wow.
And then with Chris, he was known to play baseball. He loved baseball. His parents said that he could have had even gone pro if he really wanted to, but he just more so liked just playing it. So they have an annual baseball tournament under his name, and they also have a scholarship in memory of him as well. And even there's a motorcycle club called the Shepherds that was established to do a annual ride in Shannon's honor.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah, that was...
The calm before the storm.
That was it.
No. The calm after the storm.
The light at the end of the tunnel.
I went through a tunnel. I would discover. Yeah. The calm after the storm.
Yeah. But yeah, that was basic. That was it. That was the case.
Guys, be careful. Be careful. Just be careful.
Just be careful of your surroundings.
Be careful.
Honestly.
You never knew. I mean, you just never. Sometimes you just never know. If just stay your ass at home, dude. Stay your ass at home.
I mean, you should be home anyway. This is a pandemic.
Stay your ass at home. Stay your ass at home. Nothing's gonna happen there. Just stay your ass at home. Right?
Yes.
Get yourself an iPad. Start a fucking podcast, dude. Just stay your ass at home. Nothing's gonna happen there.
It's fine. Just stay home.
Just stay home.
For the love of God. Or if you go out, be careful. Be aware of your surroundings.
Don't go out.
No, but
For
if
what? You're just gonna drink, get drunk, lose shit. Just stay your ass at home, dude. Right?
Yeah. If you go out, be aware of your surroundings. Especially if you're a woman. You know. Always have pepper spray with you.
You still got that pepper spray? I got her a pink one. Pink pepper spray. That's it.
I'm trying not to move it too much because of the mic. So you got pepper spray, and then you have this little device.
What is that?
There's a blade in here to where if you ever have to cut your seatbelt, you have that, and then this little thing breaks windows. So if you ever need to break a window. I have this little one on my keys, but in my car I have a bigger one that I can like break windows.
Oh.
But yeah, you got a blade, you got that, so always be safe. Always.
Yeah. And if you're in a state that you can carry guns, you get yourself a gun.
But the right way. If you're a criminal, like, you know, you're good with pepper spray. This is just so sad.
It is, and you know, it could happen to anybody, Kat.
Yeah.
It could happen to anybody.
Because this happened with them in a parking lot of her friend's apartment. So It's just like, you never know.
Holy shit, just like right now.
Yeah. Don't say that. No, but you know, that's why. So it's like, this wasn't a drug deal gone bad. This wasn't anything. It was literally this was a couple on their way to a birthday party.
Yeah. And it always happens to people, and that you don't even, you're like, it's never gonna happen to me. And then boom, it happens. And it's sad, you know. So just be careful, dude. Stay your ass at home, dude. Stay your ass at home, dude.
Yeah.
Stay home. That's it.
Just, I don't know. Do with that as you will. Let us know what you guys think about this. If this...
Oh man, that was crazy. That was a wild ride, dude.
Okay.
This was like fucked up, dude.
I mean, of course, you know, rest in peace to Channon and Christopher.
Mr. Chris.
No one ever should have to go through this, but it's just, I don't know. It's just sad. It just sucks. And also to their parents, being so strong through all of this, starting so many things, and how they're still so active. I don't want to say their kids' legacies, you know, and making sure that everyone knows who their names are, and, you know, the good that they were. They were just good kids that were young and dumb and dating and in love, and this happened because some stupid dumbasses. But we'll leave it at that, because I think
Don't forget the merch, guys.
This is gonna be a rant.
Oh, did I show you my tattoo, dude? The squad tattoo? It's a Scary Squad logo, but it's like a little Aztec-y. It's like, you know, to fit the whole profile. This is how bad my determination is, guys.
That's why you need to subscribe.
Subscribe.
And buy the merch.
If you can. If not, you know,
can.
watch it. If you can, then thank you.
If you aren't dumb enough and got unemployment and checked the wrong box, you guys will get your tax return soon, and you can buy that. But that is another story for another day that I like to forget about.
Also, you know, they're black now. Boom. Skadoosh.
Obviously, our coffee got cold, but yeah, definitely the mugs. Again, I'm going to play the video again, so in case y'all forgot from the beginning of this episode. But check out the merch. This is it. This is one of the t-shirts. They also have it in the champion hood sweater.
That one's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I really like how that came out. And it's the inverted logo.
Got whatever you all want. So we'll see y'all next time. Stay safe.
The choo-choo, the train stay.
Because we're leaving the station. But we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.